There's a phrase we hear all too often. I have cancer. It's something that always makes our heart sink. For my next guess, the phrase, I have cancer, come like you would expect. Completely catching them off guard, not knowing what their future would hold. One thing they knew for sure was that they were going to be okay. Welcome to this segment of Contagious Courage with Vahen. Bob and Jocelyn, otherwise known as the REV'S, thank you so much for joining me on this segment of Contagious Courage. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yes,
great to be
yes.
here.
Bob, I would like to start with you to take us back to that first day when you heard Jocelyn say those words, I have cancer.
So I can take you to the exact day. It was March 12th, 2018, and it was 10:50 a.m. in the morning. I was getting ready to do a funeral, and one of the support staff workers from North Point came up to me and said, Pastor Bob, Jocelyn needs you. You need to come now. And I walked into my office. She was crying. She had a Kleenex. And so I knelt down on one knee beside the chair, and I said, what's happening? What's going on? And so she said, my doctor called me, and he said, I'm so sorry, you have cancer. And so it was like all the air got sucked out of me and out of the room, and it's like you kind of feeling numb in that moment.
Oh, wow.
And then she said to me, but I'm going to be okay. So go back and do the funeral, because you won't be doing my funeral. That's Jocelyn. Not knowing the future, but we believe that when you put everything in God's hands, that eventually you'll see God's hands in everything. And so that's kind of how we finished that day.
Wow. And Jocelyn, take us through what you were feeling and how did you even get through the daily struggles?
Well, on that day, I was in the office because it was a really busy day for me, and I had a whole bunch of lists and papers on my desk, and I was trying to hold my papers open and work with both hands and keep my list going. And when the phone rang, I kind of stuck my finger in the page and answered my phone, and then as I listened to them, and I heard her say, I'm so sorry, you have cancer. I was like, are you kidding me? I don't have time to have cancer. I'm too busy. This is an inconvenience. And then I remember saying to her, oh, thank you very much for calling me. And then I put the phone down and I was like, well, what do I do now? Like, what do I do? She also said in the conversation, if you're going to have a cancer, this is a good cancer to have.
Wow.
And I understand what they were trying to say, but at the same time, just to hear the words, you have cancer, it's like your whole life flashes before you and you automatically think, well, how much time do I have? What is left for me? Where do I go with this? And I was thinking, this really, a cancer is cancer. There's no good cancer to have. It is cancer, and your life is going to change.
Wow. How has this diagnosis affected your faith? How did you overcome doubt and fears? Like, how did you navigate that?
Well, that's a good phrase, navigate, because back in January of 2018, we were actually on a cruise, and our ship was called Navigator of the Seas. And we were sitting on the deck, and I had this compelling impression of you're going to be okay. But is the boat going to go down? Like, are you trying to tell me I'm going to be okay? Or is something going to happen to Bob? I didn't know what God was trying to tell me. So when the phone call came and I got the diagnosis, it was then that I really felt the Spirit say to me, you're going to be okay. That's why I told you. I gave you the strength before you knew you needed it. And to be honest, that took away the doubt. It took away the fear. I did have to come to the realization that I'm going to be okay in life or I'm going to be okay in death. How has it affected my faith? I think I've always lived my life not by saying when things happen to me, why me, but by saying, why not me? I've put my life in God's hands. He orders my day. He orders my steps. You know, Paul says that we have these light and momentary troubles. And I was just thankful to be able to ponder that they're only light and they're only momentary. And Up until the point where a week before my surgery, they had to cancel it because I had an infection. That was the only day when they canceled my surgery that I felt like fear overcame faith.
Love that. The other thing I wanted to address is that someone has a traumatic life event happen in their life, and they struggle to know how to come alongside. What are some things that people have done that just is not helping in this situation? And then the reverse of that, what are some things that you found that did help you in this journey?
That sometimes people, and even with Jocelyn, having prayer publicly can actually amp up the anxiety. Because now everyone is aware of this, and they come to you and their emotions are ratcheted up, and you've got your emotions down, and then they kind of inflame yours. Because God does answer prayer, but it's a bit counterintuitive that sometimes public prayer actually hurts the situation rather than helps it.
But people, I think, are honestly trying to help. I had a wonderful, wonderful church community that came around me that filled our fridge and our freezer with food. And they didn't say, can I do this? They just brought it. I got cards in the mail. I got books in the mail. I got phone calls, emails. All those things were strength building. One thing that I did find that was really helpful, that I wanted people to ask me, how are you today? Don't just ask me the general question, how are you? Like, what do you mean, how am I? How am I, like, looking into the future? How am I, with my emotionally? How am I physically? Just ask me how I am today, because I felt I could give them a short enough answer to tell them how I actually was today.
Wow, thank you for that. Okay, so Jocelyn, it's been a year and 4 months. So what is the situation now, today?
So today, I am really good. As a matter of fact, yesterday I got a letter in the mail. It says normal pap smear. Yay!
Celebration, happy dance.
Yeah, it was a good day.
Wow, I love that. I love that. But Bob, I want to bring this back to you. What words of wisdom would you want to share to someone who's maybe just walking this journey?
I'd say the word faith is a key word, and sometimes when people hear the word faith, immediately think, well, I don't have enough faith. Do I have enough faith? They ask themselves that question. And so we found that it's not really so how big your faith is, it's where you put your faith. So the ability to put even a small amount of faith into a great God.
Love it.
Your faith gets tested, and our faith was tested. And so the ability to lean in, and then to keep moving forward, and just believing that help will come. And so people need to persevere. You need to have grit, the ability to keep moving one step after the other. And so that's kind of how we lived out that faith, through grit.
That's some good words there. Yes.
Rev words.
Rev words. That's a really great segue, Jocelyn.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. You have a blog called REV'S, and that is a place where people can go be inspired. Also, you have this lovely book, You're Gonna Be Okay. Could you tell us who and what people can expect between the covers of You're Gonna Be Okay?
So Jocelyn's story is one of 11 stories that we've recorded,
Nice.
11 women. They've shared their stories of sexual abuse, cancer, mental illness, and loss. And I think people, when they read these stories, they're real people, they've struggled, they've had doubts, they've been hurt, but they found that with putting their hope in God, that they've come through, that God's been faithful to them. And I think people can find inspiration through your story, through this book as well.
Well, it's beautiful. I'm so honored that I get to contribute to this beautiful platform that You're Going to Be Okay. Thank you so much for being here today and sharing your faith, sharing your struggle. If you want to reach out to the REV'S, subscribe to their blog, follow them on social media. I will have all of that information in the description of this video. And what else is there to say but not to us, O Lord, not to us, but to you and your name goes all the honor and glory for your unfailing love and faithfulness. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Until next time, bye.
That is Paul.
It is Paul? Oh, drat.
That's okay. That's totally fine.
I think this is a bit counterintuitive.
Just
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Now go ahead.
I do this every time.
Yeah, yeah.